this is Marina from Darkstar Astrology, bringing you the full moon on the 19th of April, which falls at 29 degrees Libra. So that's right at the very precipice, the end of it. So it will be aligned with fixed star Isar in the constellation of Bootes, the herdsman. And the closest aspect is an opposition to Uranus. The tarot card is the Four of Swords, and the healing crystal will be the Sunstone. So the full moon in Libra is extremely sensitive to the collective's emotions. That means those touched by this full moon can adjust themselves to suit their audience. The success of the fixed stars here brings even more likelihood of one being able to tap into the zeitgeist. The full moon has great business sense and is able to capitalize on this greatly. However, as far as planetary dignity goes, the moon has no real power here in Libra Decan 3, and it feels quite uncomfortable. So at some point while the moon is here, then there could be danger of someone or some group falling out of favor and even being placed in exile. Now, in my research for the moon in Decan 3 of Libra, I did find literal cases of exile, one of which was Wallis Simpson, and also cases of downfall after having great status, which was Marie Antoinette. Now, the moon here is actually defined as being peregrine, so that means it's basically in exile. So the status of an outlaw or anti-hero fits this full moon very well. This decan in particular shows strongly the archetype of, well, I think it does, of Eris, Venus, Lucifer as the morning star. So will Lady Lucinda shed some light on the confusion in the world right now? So the moon is opposite Uranus, which is going to cause a stir in the collective. The electric and volatile energy of Uranus seems to become even more unstable than usual in opposition. The polarity creates wild mood swings and has the feel of a loose cannon. Now, in my research again, it was sad to see that 3 accidents, assassinations are in the list of the natives who were born with this aspect, and all 3 deaths caused a huge public outpouring of emotion, whether it be anger, shock or deep mourning. I think one of them was Princess Diana. The revolutionary energy of Uranus, though, means that after the lightning bolt has struck, things are never the same again. And with this aspect, there is the feeling of something is just about to flip out. So we will feel like we must be ready to jump ship very quickly. Well, that's similar also to just the energy of the anaretic degree as well, that it's on the 29th degree of the zodiac. So the card associated with this decan is the Four of Swords, which is associated with mental exhaustion and retreat. It's really not surprising, since one of this decan's themes is perfecting the intellect. So natural talent gushes out and can easily burn out, though. So Teach Me Tarot say that the Four of Swords carries a very real warning of the consequences of not taking care of your mental health during stressful times. If you are coping at present, then this card suggests that you are close to the edge, and if you do not take the necessary steps to take a break, then it may very well be forced upon you. It warns of the potential for mental breakdowns, medical care, and even hospitalization. This is kind of interesting as well, because again, it's taking it to the edge, which is the 29th degree as well. And also Uranus, again, can flip out very easily. Now, what I noticed about this decan is that the first half is definitely more Venusian, but as we work towards the Scorpion-ruled Scorpio tropical sign that comes after Libra, then we see that more reckless, passionate side of Bootes, the herdsman, taking over. Now, this star that we have for the moon is a pale orange and green Isar, which is stunning through the telescope, and it's found in the herdsman's loins and was at one time known as Pulcharima, the beautiful one. In Arabic, it's also known as the belt of the shouter. There is not much written about Isar, the star, so we have to look at what's really written about the constellation of Bootes, which it's in. So, Constellation of Words says, it has been suggested that Bootes may immortalised the transition from a nomadic life to a settled agricultural one in the ancient world. The aspiring farmer who made claims on land would need to guard his property and produce against those who had still remained nomads, at least before bylaws became established. Titles for booties were Greek Arctophulax, translated the bear watcher, and Phylax was a guard or watchman in ancient Rome as well. And that's from the Constellation of Words. And Manilus says of booties, fortune herself makes bold to entrust her treasures so that the wealth of monarchs and temple finances will be in their keeping. They will be kings, under kings, and ministers of state, well, that's politicians, and be charged with the guardianship of the people. So we're really talking about we're talking about the government here, in whatever country you're in. And you can also definitely see that divide once you pass 24 degrees of Libra, where the Libra scales get the balance of both Venus and Mars in perfect harmony. And this gives Libra Decan 3 its great success. You know, how can one fail with speaker's genius and talent blended with the cocksure Arcturus great good luck? Libra is also a cardinal sign of great leadership, and it also has the ability to be a diplomat also, and these traits make a good politician, provided they're not corrupted, that is. Now, in this case, we are right at the very edge of Libra Decan 3, so I don't think it's got so much of the diplomacy here. It's come to the end of its, patience, I think, here. And it does make me think, sorry to keep bringing Brexit into it, but it's still going on. Can you believe it? They've now extended it to... and this is kind of interesting, they've extended it to Halloween, October the 31st. So I think that's kind of spooky anyway. But I think I'll talk more about that in my rant, because I don't want to get politics in the way of the astrology bit here, because then, as I said before, I know some people, it's half and half, I think, who watch me, and a lot of people just want the astrology, so I'll get that over with, and then the second half can be just me talking geopolitics. So the third face of Libra, according to the Picatrix, is a man riding a donkey with a wolf riding in front of him. This is a face of evil works, sodomy, adultery, singing, joys and flavours. That's just such a weird combination. I'm sure the last one had something to do with evil as well. But anyway, I chose a different image for this one, because I didn't really like the image for the man riding a donkey for the Picatrix. So instead I chose Washington in Hell, Your Ancestors Are Angry, America, which is by J Swofford. And I wonder when he actually did this painting, because I don't know if it's to do with Trump or what, but whatever it is, I just think it really kind of fits with what's going on. It doesn't really matter which side, I think, of the political fence you sit on now. It's very obvious. Well, all right, I'll talk about this later. Let's just finish it off. All right, here's my summary anyway. So this is the second full moon in Libra in a row, which is quite rare. And this is because the last one was right at the dawn of Libra Decan 1, whereas this one is in the very last degree, as I said, of Decan 3. Now, yes, as I said, the 29 degree is an anaretic degree, which in astrology means that it's extremely unstable. It is like being at the very end of a process in alchemy, just about to regenerate into something else, like Doctor Who. And the move is from Venus to Mars energy as we move towards the next full moon in Scorpio. And this is funny because I wrote this about 2 weeks ago. And so I did talk about Brexit even then. I couldn't really resist it. So yeah, I just said, to me, this makes me think of the whole Brexit debacle where change is being resisted in the hope that the outcome will swing the other way. But resisting transformation is dangerous. It's a dangerous game, as the more you push it down, the harder the counter reaction will be. Bootes is the guardian of the people, or he can simply be a herdsman of sheep. So maybe some of the elites regard their flock as airheads that they can just bark at and they will just flee to their enclosures. But all it takes is a renegade sheepdog and the shepherd loses control of the whole flock. So the unpredictable energy of Uranus only adds to the instability, and it is interesting that the tarot card associated with his decan warns of a sudden breakdown due to overwork. Is Booties overworking the herd? Will the herds turn on their masters? The shift from obedient, passive Venus to aggressive Mars is shown at this full moon, which in itself is an opposition of signs ruled by Venus and Mars. Uranus, however, is in a Venus-ruled sign, but one that is associated with the earth and agriculture as Booties is, and I wonder if there could be some kind of farmers' revolt of some kind. Now, I just wanted to make just a little note about the use of the word. Maybe I'm going to have to say it in a funny way, otherwise the Google gods will probably think, what the hell am I talking about in this moon post? So it's the Sodomy in the third phase of Libra that I mentioned earlier. Actually, when I wrote the... when I've written the post, I've actually put the O's as stars so that Google doesn't freak out about, my use of that word. It's from the Roman translation of the Picatrix, and the Arabic is exactly the same. So why they combine evils with joy is anyone's, or so-called evils, with joy is anyone's guess. But I would imagine that this is the side of Venus that can easily become exceedingly self-indulgent and narcissistic if not kept in check. But despite the grim prognosis of the third phase of Libra, I still think the overall message is one of hope and positivity. Sometimes things have to reach a boiling point before the transformation can happen. So here's a quote from G. Michael Hopf. I've heard this loads of times. I didn't actually know who actually said it, so I finally found it. So he says, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So I think we're in the weak men creating hard times at the moment. And so it's all about cycles. The universe is intelligent. Humans are, I think, like blood cells, and we're self-correcting. So I chose the image of Washington in hell rather than the third face of Libra because I like the image better. As I said, it just seems more relevant for the current times. And with Booties, we're also talking about guardians in the shape of our leaders and how important their health is for the state of the nation as a whole. The government is weak and sick, so it needs to go. Now, yeah, it really is weak and sick. In England anyway, a lot of, some people who are talking about Brexit, the sort of true Brexiteers, are saying things like, we need a Trump here. I don't think we need Trump here, but we need someone, not Theresa May. I'm rather fond of, what's his name? Jacob Rees-Mogg. He's the real typical English gent. But of course, the media hate him because he's just, he's really old school. He looks like he's just walked out of the 1930s, really. And he's actually a couple of years younger than me. And he doesn't listen to pop music. He listens to classical and choral works. I mean, he's a bit like me, actually. I do that too. But he was saying he was getting questions from the audience, and obviously there were loads of people trolling, and they were saying, "Oh, do you use emojis?" And he was going, "No, I don't use emojis. I use proper words." And he said, what did he say? He said it was vulgar to use emojis or something like that. But yeah, he's your typical, he's a sort of old school kind of Tory, and very loyal to his leader. He actually voted, oh my God, I can't believe he voted for Theresa May's deal just once the last time he voted, which was a bit of a disappointment. I thought he had a bit more Marsy energy than him, but I guess he's your typical Libra, try and please everyone sort of thing. But yeah, I think this is just so weird that I wrote this 2 weeks ago, and now here we are. with Brexit going on until another 6 months, because I just think they won't have it. It's very much like this this situation of this post. It really is. It's really describing what's happened, that it's come to, I mean, time is running out and they're still refusing to take the word of democracy, and eking it out because I don't know what they think is going to happen in another 6 months, apart from everyone getting really, really annoyed. People want to just move on and just get on with business, and we just don't know. The only thing is, I think we're going to have one good thing, and I hope it does happen. I hope we are allowed to take part in the European elections, because then we can put in a hell of a lot of UKIP people to really piss off the EU. So I think that's one good thing. But yes, I think I mentioned something earlier about the fact that we don't have, the reason that they're making out that Parliament is really that they're incompetent and they don't know what they're doing and they're blundering around. They're not. They are very competent. They know what they're doing. They are just trying not to. They're just trying not to get the Brexit through. They're doing anything possible they can, and they're playing games. And also, I don't know with the EU what their deal is with Theresa May, but she's definitely their puppet. So she's going back to the Parliament. She's blaming Parliament for not being getting it together. But one thing about Parliament is it is sticking up for itself, and that's the thing. But we've got a problem because we don't have one unified party that wants a Brexit. Labour don't want it at all. I don't think there's anyone in Labour that wants Brexit. And the Tories are divided in half. I think half of them do and half of them don't. And then you've got who's representing the people. So the worst thing that could have happened really is if we'd left with Theresa May's deal, because I didn't know this, but I've been listening to a lot more stuff about Brexit now. Her so-called deal was a treaty which stuck us in Europe even more strongly. And what they're trying to do is nailing down an agreement where, once Theresa May goes, because they know she's on her last legs, even if we replace her with a very, a Brexiteer Prime Minister who wants to take us out of Europe, they won't be able to do it because they'll put into law things that actually lock us into a customs union, which is not a Brexit, basically. And it just means, and I didn't know this, it means that we cannot do any trade deals with anyone else in the world. That's really great, isn't it? So you'd be stuck as their slave, and it'd be worse than no Brexit at all. So that's why that deal is so bad, and why nobody wants it at all, because even Labour see that as being ridiculous. And yes, a word about Labour as well. A lot of Labour constituencies, especially up north, northeast, they all voted to leave. So it's just a pitiful state where nobody knows who to vote for anymore, because you got the choice of one party that doesn't want to leave and another party that doesn't really want to leave either. So that's the point. What also just makes me laugh, there was a tweet by Cher, of all people, on Twitter about, let me see if I can find it. It just made me really laugh. Well, it was the replies that made me laugh, because somebody I follow, I think, replied something like, I'm not going to listen to someone with no nose. But she wrote, it's unequivocal and indisputable. Trump and his Third Reich are about to deconstruct our government and our country. I don't actually know what's going on in America at the moment, so I'm really behind because of the Brexit. But anyway, and then she goes, they are liars and criminals with no conscience, and they're winning. Dems fight fire with fire. Fuck PC. Ooh. You are down for the count. You won Congress, is that? But what's Kong versus Trump score? Question mark. What is she ranting about? Oh, and another tweet after that was, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. And she's got a lot of other kind of mad as hell type tweets But you know, this is the thing: celebrities being political when they live in a bubble. It's funny how they're always on one side and they're all in agreement, and they all think they're being so, you know, this sort of F-U-C-K, fuck PC. I mean, no, you're not being. You are politically correct. Oh my God, Cher, really? But what really, I think, what's really got to people now is that there's such a huge divide by the majority and who's in power, and it's really obvious to see now, and all we have to do is vote with our votes, because a lot of people say, oh, it's not worth voting anymore, there's no one to vote for, but there is there will be other candidates, and then there's always the thing that, oh, if you vote Conservative as a protest against Labour, then you're just giving the Conservatives a vote, and if you do the same the other way around, well, you don't have to vote for either of them. And in England, we've never been a country that's very physically revolutionary. It tends to be through the ballot box, and you could see that with Brexit. It was a shock, and it's kind of happened with Trump. I mean, I don't understand. If he got in because there were the votes there, half the country, that's a lot of people. And same with Brexit, it's half the country. So you can't say that it's some kind of Third Reich or something like that. You can't say that, because you're basically calling half the country Nazis. Cher. But she is living in cloud cuckoo land, because what is if it really was the Third Reich, okay, if we're going to talk about feeling pressurised to have a certain political opinion to the left, to the right, you know, who are feeling like they can't speak out? Who are the ones that feel like, especially in the entertainment industry, you know, what entertainers are, which ones are supporting Trump? I mean, you know, and which ones in England as well are supporting Brexit? Not famous ones. I can't think of any. But, I have. There is one, although she's not really famous. But, yes, this was interesting. I don't know how I was watching Good Morning Britain, but little bits of it come up on my feed because I watched something to do with Nigel Farage on it. Anyway, they had Jordan and her mother on, and Jordan, in case you probably don't know in America, she's some kind of, I don't know, I think she was a topless model, but she's very much, I mean, when you look at it, she's really kind of like, she's very Essex girl with like massive eyelashes and pumped up lips and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, celebrity, yeah, she's a reality TV star, and so the presenter asked her, so what do you think about Brexit then? What did you vote? She said, no, I don't do politics, I don't do religion, you know, just don't ask me. And then they asked the mum, and she said, to be honest, I voted Brexit. And you can see the presenter just going, change the subject quickly. So he went, and she goes, no, because, you know, I think we should in control of our own laws, basically, and not be ruled by Brussels. But you could see that she sort of had to say, to be honest, like, if you're in the entertainment industry, you're not supposed to be a Brexiter at all, Brexiteer. So, you know, what is this Third Reich then? Which side is it coming from? Because it's really not coming from the right. If you're feeling like you have to sort of go, to be honest, shall I say this? Will the world come crashing down if I say that I voted for Brexit? You know, so it's on both sides of the pond is exactly the same. And the fact that all these entertainers, all like little sheep that they are, just do what each other, it's peer pressure, I guess, but, you know, they do what's good for their careers, and it's not good for your career to be on the right. I say on the right, but really it isn't the right and the left anymore, is it? It's if you're with the if you're with the elites or you're not. You know, are you a good little globalist or are you a nationalist? But if you're a celebrity, I guess you're kind of one of these internationalists, because you have to appeal to the whole world, because the more that you appeal to the whole world, the more money you will make. So, you know, they're just going with their bank balance and doing all the virtue signaling to show what wonderful, lovely people they are, that they have concern for the poor and the needy and whoever, but they probably spend more on Botox than your average person earns in a year. So that's the bubble. That's the difference between the bubble and real people. Anyway, I think I'll just get on and read the crystal. We need some crystal healing now. So I chose the Sunstone because it's a crystal of inspiration. And when you are ready to break through stagnant energy, Sunstone infuses you with powerfully bright energies to shine through the darkness that has clouded your spirit. By ridding you of your pessimistic outlook, Sunstone energy helps you to see that there are an endless amount of opportunities on your horizon. And that's a quote from energymuse.com. Then Crystal Vaults say that Sunstone is a stone of leadership, of personal power, freedom and expanded consciousness. Truly reflecting the qualities of light, it brings openness, benevolence, warmth, strength, mental clarity, and the willingness and ability to bestow blessings upon others. The New Crystal Bible says that it provides a source of strength if you are dependent on others emotionally or have suffered the sudden loss of a partner. It helps alleviate fearfulness and stress and protects against those who drain your energies or finances. It is also an excellent crystal for phobia sufferers to ease fear of the dark, enclosed spaces, or the presence of other triggers. So yeah, I just thought we needed a stone that really kind of shines the light and brings sovereignty back to individuals, because it just seems really dark when you don't have a choice. If you can't use the democratic vehicles to get rid of someone. And then when you do, and it succeeds out of the blue like it has done, I think, the Trump and Brexit, they're of the same thing. They were unexpected. Look what happens. All hell breaks loose. And just because people voted and expressed an opinion. I've never seen this in my entire lifetime. Never. And, I've been around for quite a while. And when has this ever happened before? When have leaders been attacked so badly? And when has it ever been a crime to agree with your politicians? I mean, this is the weird thing. You have to ask yourself, why are people who support, say, Nigel Farage or Donald Trump getting banned? Are they the conformists or are they the rebels? You have to ask yourself this. So it is very strange times that we live in, where if these leaders were so Third Reich, then surely people can see that it does not make sense. Surely Cher sees that the people, she's not being banned. She's being given the right to slag off Trump. If he was such a Nazi, then she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be famous. She wouldn't be like, what's the word? She wouldn't have what she has. And that goes for all the Hollywood people who are so kind of anti-Trump. Now, I'm not saying that he's a wonderful person or anything like this, but I'm just saying that it's so unbelievable that such a small percentage of the population can have such a hold over the majority. But they can't, they obviously haven't really, because the impression is that they have, and that everything is like the media says it is. But when you go out into the real world, it's really not. And that's the danger of living online too much, because, what gets filtered through you through your computer screen is going to be of one flavour, really. But if you just go out into real life, it's totally different. So this is the incongruities that we are living with in this world. And a lot of people are just afraid to say what they really think. That's the only thing. And when you go into that ballot box, you can be truthful. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. And that's why we get these opposite to what the polls say. And that's why you get these shocks. And I think that's what's going to keep happening as well. So yes, booties, the sheep herdsman. All it takes is one errant sheepdog. That's the thing, you know. So if he's kind of representing the 1-2% of elites, whatever, and the sheepdog is the media, I guess, barking at the sheep. But that's why things like YouTube are important, because it brings more sheepdogs into the equation who can bark at the sheep to go another way. You know, not everybody, and that's the thing with, I don't mean to sort of say that the general public are sheep, not all of them are, but a lot of them just want to get on with their lives, just want to, you know, do their jobs, come home, have a nice family, and just get by. They don't want any trouble. And there's the added thing of peer pressure. So it just depends where you live. But you can see that. You can see that in the difference between the Brexit votes in London and then going out into the country. It's a totally different situation. And the same with Trump as well. So you can see, you know, people do vote what they vote for. They sort of fit in with their neighbours. They just do. And that's why people move. You know, that's why there's white flight, as they call it. So yeah, I'm a believer that nature will sort itself out, and this full moon really is pushing things to the edge. So something might, you know, explode. The sheep might start going nuts or something. So we'll see. We'll see. All right then. Well, that brings me to the end. All the best, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.